Hey, what's up, everybody? Chilling here at China Camp, my healing spot. Yes, I'm wearing a Breathe Right strip. I'm doing some breath work. I know I look a little funny. You look funny too. And so this video, I want to talk a little bit about generational trauma, how we manage it, how we work through it, and most importantly, how we transmute generational trauma. Now, I really feel personally there's a lot of us spirits and bodies, human beings who are here at this present time to do some deep generational healing. And part of the word generational is genere, which means to create, generate, to generate. So we're creating a whole new reality at this time on this planet. And so when it comes to generational trauma, something I heard recently that I thought was beautiful is that when you heal yourself and your generational trauma, you heal all the generations that came before you. That's pretty deep. You heal all the generations, all the wounds that have been passed down from your great-great-great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandfather, all those wounds that have been passed down from the generations to you. And you have that opportunity in this life to create that type of change. No pressure, bro, no pressure. But how do we do that? So, with all the work I've been doing on myself, healing my own generational trauma, I'm probably doing the deepest shadow work exercise I've ever done. You have to do the work before you teach it. So I'll share that in a future video. But what's come up with my generational trauma, most importantly, is just, the first step is facing it, acknowledging you've got some heavy trauma, and that can be a wide range of things, to mental, physical, emotional, spiritual abuse that gets passed down from generation to generation, whether your mama hit you or there was some kind of sexual abuse or alcoholism or drug abuse that gets passed down in your family. Like, yeah, let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. We don't talk about it. We don't heal from it. You go to your doctor, say, I got trauma. He gives you pills. He doesn't talk to you about it. So let's talk about it, guys. Let's actually heal. And the first step is acknowledging it. Say, yeah, I'm wounded. I got wounds in my family. When I started on this journey to inner healing, I found out there was a lot more wounds than I was actually aware of that were generational, like way deeper wounds than I could have imagined. So when we acknowledge the path, we may find some darker stuff, and that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but that's part of the journey if you're really going to heal. And I always like to say that your mess becomes your message. The work that you do now, you don't pass it on to your kids. You don't pass those wounds, those generational wounds, onto other people in your life, your loved ones. And when we acknowledge the path, then we can begin to transmute it. And when we talk about transmuting, it's about, in alchemy, what we call turning lead into gold, turning metal into gold. What is mental, your mind, into gold. And when we step onto this healer's path, the wounded healer's path. And that's what I feel that I am these days, is a wounded healer. You have to acknowledge your wounds to be a healer, and then you can support other people in their healing. Is that to heal is to become whole. And in order to become whole, you have to acknowledge the holes, the wounds that you have. It's like you have people walk around with an arrow in their back and they act like everything's fine. I'm just taking pills and just going about my day-to-day life, pretending that everything is good. And it's not good. It's not good. And everyone around you knows it. You know it. And you keep abusing, mistreating other people in your life. And because you're wounded, you're not whole. You're not healing. Healing means to make whole. I'll say it again. So we acknowledge that arrow in our back, being stabbed in the back by friends, family, people that we love and care about. Then we can begin the healing process of transmuting the lead into gold. And when I talk about shadow work, 90% of your shadow is pure gold. It's just the 10% of darkness that we do not acknowledge. It's like you having a shadow. It's like, I don't have a shadow. What are you talking about? A shadow? Like, we all have a shadow. We all have a shadow. And part of the shadow is your repressed, suppressed, or denied emotions. Anger, guilt, shame, fear, sadness, grief, all that stuff that's lurking below the surface in your mind that you don't allow yourself to feel, and it slowly kills you from the inside out. Why? What's the leading killer in America? Heart disease, because we're not experiencing real joy. It's fake joy. people constantly external, buying more stuff, owning more things, making more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't acknowledge your pain, it's fake joy. That's why you're going to die from heart disease, or people are going to struggle with heart disease or cancer. It's those repressed emotions that get stuck in our body. I'm studying ancient Chinese medicine right now, and a lot of our cancers show up in different organs because we've repressed a lot of emotions that show up in different organs of the body. We can talk about that in another video. But in order to heal, we have to acknowledge those wounds, those repressed, suppressed, denied emotions. And when we do that, it's like conquering our inner demons. Imagine a part of you is anger or guilt or shame, and you've been just kind of holding it down below the surface in your mind, not wanting to see it. You just want to say everything is fine above the surface, but there's a lot going on below the surface that we cannot see right in front of our eyes. And often those things we stuff below the surface are the things that are our barriers. Like you're trying to get somewhere and you keep running into a barrier. You're like, where's this barrier coming from? It's your shadow. Your shadow's not allowing you to move forwards. It's holding you back because you haven't acknowledged an aspect of yourself, the guilt, the shame, those inner wounds, the grief, the sadness. And those wounds hold you back as much as they can because it's just energy at the most basic level. And it's when we acknowledge that energy that we can actually begin to access our greatest healing. And that's really the generational healing that occurs, is that you acknowledge the generational pain that your mama, your papa, your grandpappy, your grandmammy, your noni, whatever you want to call your grandparents. I know we have all kinds of funny names. But, we didn't talk about this stuff back in the day. We didn't know what PTSD was. We didn't know about the emotions and how they affect the body. And that's really the work that I've found myself here to do is, the most basic level, starting these conversations. Whether or not you ever work with me as a coach, I really just want to heal the planet. So hopefully the words that I share with you can trigger you in a positive way. When I say trigger, who's holding the ammo to the gun, bro? Who's holding the ammo to the gun? Can you unload that weapon and look at the ammunition and see what emotions, what anger you're holding back inside yourself, the grief and the shame? Can you look at those aspects of yourself? Because that's how we heal the generational trauma. That's the real story, because a lot of it's just stories. That's energy that's stored inside of us, inside our hearts, inside of our lungs, inside our liver, our kidneys, our stomach. That's why we keep eating. Start to feel the pain, the anxiety, feel the grief in our lungs, feel the fear in our kidneys. And it's when we do that work, this is why I say it's the wounded healer's path. When we do that work is when we can actually really acknowledge our wounds and begin to truly heal ourselves. And remember, your mess becomes your message. So the deeper we go, the more we dig in, we can find the true gold that is within all of us. But we've been suppressing, repressing, and denying it to play it safe because our ego doesn't want us to see what's in our shadow. But in our shadow is what truly sets us free. And I feel like that's the work that we're all here to do, is face our generational trauma, work with our shadow, because once you bring your shadow back online, it becomes your ally. Becomes your ally. Imagine instead of having that voice in the back of your head saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy of love, saying you are good enough, you are worthy of love. Then the current shifts, and takes you to your dreams with an absolute fraction of the effort, because you actually, for the first time, fully love yourself. And maybe the first one in generations of your own family. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna go do some breath work. I gotta take advantage of my breathe right strip and do my breath work out here by the water and continue my healing work. I'm doing a lot of healing work. I'm seeing coaches right now, healers, doing a trauma course right now. I'm doing a lot of my own inner work so that I can be a better coach and serve all of you. So if you feel called, message me. I love offering support to people who are ready to receive it. Thank you all for listening if you've gotten this far. Much love, y'all. Peace.